Welcome back to Geek Responsibly.
Mommy Sellout edition.
I'm Bridget.
My name's Jenna.
And here we go.
Let's go. Super awkward. This is the journey of my personal pregnancy and what we are going through.
Yeah, it's our baby. Let's be honest.
And things I'm finding out, things I'm looking forward to, and things people are scaring me
And things
into.
she's terrifying me about.
Yes.
Fantastic.
So today, this episode, I'm going to go through exactly how I found out, some things that happened, and where I'm at after all of that has happened. So we'll start with before I knew I was pregnant.
Here, I'll do the swipe.
I'm definitely doing one now. All right, so right before I found out, Steve and I were just coming back from a vacation to San Diego. I also was talking to a therapist just because there was a lot of emotional stuff that was happening throughout, obviously, this whole year, 2020.
Yep.
So with that, I was telling my therapist that I just lost all hope for humanity and passion for everything that I was doing, meaning YouTube, streaming, whatever.
And if you guys follow her, you'll know that she, like as I do, you know that she's always working.
Yes.
And you're always doing something. You're always passionate about doing something.
Yes. And so I remember telling her that I was just not passionate, and she was like, well, let's do one thing. And I was like, okay, not talking to you anymore.
And she's telling me this stuff too. So I'm like, oh, okay. Like,
Yes.
That's not, I'm sorry you're feeling that way. And you were also thinking hormones too.
So I'm also researching about hormones.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like, I'm turning 34. There's all this stuff happening. I have no idea what's going on. And then I just get really violently sick. I'm dizzy all the time, nauseous, and I had this congestion that wouldn't go away. So I'm like, oh my gosh, from San Diego, I must have gotten something.
Yeah.
Maybe I have COVID. So I'm like, okay, well, guess what? People usually get over it in like a week or two. All right.
So hunker down.
2 weeks go by. Steve's like, dude, you need to go to the doctor. And I was like, I'm good. Getting
I'm gonna
worse.
die in this house.
Getting worse. And so again, I like even started up meal prepping again and like getting my medicinal food to like lose weight. And
because I remember us talking and you're like, I got this plan, this is what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna fucking turn this around.
Yes, I'm gonna try and get myself back in line.
Mm-hmm.
And then still getting sick, so I went to go eat a salad, and I remember like 15 minutes in, I'm at work and I have to run to the bathroom, and I just like throw up everything, and I'm like, well, that's weird. So
that's a new symptom.
I was like, all right, well, COVID has nausea, vomiting, congestion.
Check,
so I'm
check.
like, all right, it's getting worse. I'm going to have to go get a COVID test. So again, fast forward, about to go get my COVID test, and I brainlessly go and take a pregnancy test, which dun dun dun, it says
before or after the COVID?
Before. And it says, you're pregnant. I was like, no, I'm not. So I go drive over.
I just have COVID.
And drive over to get the COVID test, but I'm kind of elated at the same time. So it wasn't like oh my God, I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like, oh my God, I'm pregnant. It was like,
what if I am?
Yeah, I can actually maybe do this. So I drive over, get my COVID test. I come back home and I'm like, I gotta do this again. So I find one that actually says pregnant or not pregnant.
Not the lines.
Not the lines. It's like, and the first one was a plus symbol. So it wasn't like a.
You're like.
So I was like, maybe it's broken.
As a woman, how long have you had that pregnancy?
They were just recent.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So I was like,
I've got one, but I've had it for a while.
They have expirations on them.
I know.
And they last.
That's what I was gonna ask.
They last quite a time, but I get where you're going.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I'm gonna try and do this one again. And sure enough, I was like, oh my God, it literally says pregnant, and I was like, when did we do it? So I was like trying to figure everything out, and I was like, fuck it. I'm going to go get, pregnancy announcements now. So I'm like on Etsy, like, da da da, I am pregnant. And then I'm like, I'm pregnant. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I'm pregnant. So I'm like going through all these emotions by myself.
Was this all happening very quickly?
This is November 10th.
Okay.
I found out. And this is happening that day.
Okay. So you're literally like looking up announcements.
Yes. So I order all these things from Etsy.
Oh my God.
These from my parents.
You
these
actually
for
ordered them.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Because I was like, this is happening. This isn't fake. And I got this little Star Wars one for Steve. It has lightsabers and it says, coming your apprentice is, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it has like the little spot where you put the pregnancy test. So I run downstairs and I have to cut it. And I hear Steve coming out of the bathroom. So I quickly like hid it in a drawer with the pregnancy test. I'm like, ah. And he goes, sure, cut my bonus or something like that. And I'm like, oh God, by the way,
oh, like
pregnant.
Overhearing him.
Yeah. And so I go, what happened? And he's like,
work stuff.
Oh, nothing, blah, blah, blah. They're just going to cut our pay and da, da, da. And I was just like, oh God, like by a lot. Turns out it wasn't by a lot, but he was just.
Not something you want to hear when you're like, oh my God, I'm about to tell you we're going to have financial burden.
So I go, right before, obviously all this happened was the election.
Yeah.
And in a group text with my parents, I made a stupid joke and I had a hand that definitely wasn't me. It was like a manly hand stating, in other fake news, I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
So that was like November 3rd or November 6th. And then November 10th happens and I'm like, oh shit, I really am pregnant. So I go downstairs and I go, I think I jinxed us. And then I handed it to him. And he looked at it, and then he looked at me, and he looked at it again, and he got up and he gave me a hug, and it was really cute. So that's how we found out. So you fast forward to the next day.
Yeah.
We decide to get rid of Shark, my Mustang, because one, he doesn't want me. Yeah, like in an instant, he's like, we're getting rid of this car. Now, one, you're too low to the ground. Two, I didn't like it because I couldn't get in, is what he said.
Now, hold on. So, before we go on to Shark. So, again, you're talking to your therapist. You're like, oh my God, I have no interest in anything.
Yes.
And then you find out you're pregnant. How long after that?
Right after I find out that I'm pregnant, I feel like this surge of creativity and excitement again.
And you're like,
now I can put all this energy into.
Fuck that, I care about everything.
Pretty much. How can I, make the best of this pregnancy and learn and educate others?
Light switch just came on.
Then we go and try and buy a new car. We're in the process of buying.
The next day?
Next day.
The next day.
Next day. We go and we are looking at a car. We find the car that we want. A hybrid RAV4.
Did you feel bad getting rid of the Mustang?
Oh, yes. Yes.
She always like looking at it and I'm like, dates.
Oh.
I always felt like so happy.
Well, I feel like it hates me now that I like abandoned it. But at the same time, I had to tell it like, hey, we're starting a new chapter in our lives.
Girl, you ain't gonna get in and out of that fucking Mustang.
Can't put a baby in that thing either. I mean, where am I to put it?
Oh yeah, I guess you can.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, okay. In the Mustang's defense, Michael's mom likes Corvettes, and she would drive the kids to school with that, and they didn't have a back seat, so they had to share the front seat. So, and that shit's low to the ground. We drove in it.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculously no reason to go as fast as it can go.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. I know how that goes.
I do miss the Stang though, because again, you picked me up for our dates in it.
I do like it.
Really
but now I have a mommy car.
Which I do love.
I love my mommy car.
But it's crazy how quick, like, your mindset instantly changed. You're like, oh shit, we need a new car.
Yes.
Or maybe that's like a day old. Or like your knowledge of it.
Knowledge. Yeah, it was 2 months old.
Yeah.
In the hindsight. But 2 days old in my head.
Of knowing. Yeah.
During us purchasing the car, we got to the end. It was a very long process, obviously, like normal. It was probably about like 3 to 4 hours. We hadn't eaten. I was drinking water, and then I was like, still congested. I'm like, I'm going to go to the bathroom, blow my nose. So go to the bathroom, sit down, and I go to the bathroom. I go to wipe, and there's just blood everywhere. And I'm like, holy hell, we're buying this car, and now I'm losing this baby. Freaking out.
Yeah.
So I run out to Steve, and I'm like, we need to go or something. Actually, I was a little bit more calm, and I was like, oh, we're not going to be able to go to dinner after because I think we need to go to the hospital. I'm bleeding. He freaks out, and then he's like, all right, runs to the lady, is like, we need to go. She's bleeding. She just found out she's pregnant. Like, we are nervous. This lady,
kudos to them.
Great, freaking amazing person. Though people in general have been amazing. She runs, gathers everybody, and tells them to put a license plate on the car and get us out and just take the new car. Not even finish any of the paperwork, just go. So we're in our new car,
and this is
driving the second day.
In the new car. So the first day, yay, excited, pregnancy, let's go get a car.
Mm-hmm.
And then, holy shit, we need to go to the emergency room. The next
like I said,
day.
we didn't finish anything with the paperwork, so we're technically with this car.
That's a fucking whirlwind.
That has not been signed over to us. We have not finalized any paperwork.
That's a
They're
nice
telling me like, go.
What a fucking test drive.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there holding my stomach thinking, oh my gosh, my baby is in the Toyota toilet. Not sure what to say. We are both silent driving there. Steve gets us to the new hospital that's on the road, on the highway.
Yeah.
And we pull in, and I go, well, at least the ride was smooth.
Oh my God.
So I go in there, and I'm crying, and I'm like, I think I'm experiencing a miscarriage. And this woman's like, get in.
Did they rush you in pretty quickly?
No. They were packed.
Oh, shit.
So now I'm sitting in the waiting room for 20 minutes, bawling my eyes out, thinking I'm
back at the dealership.
Exactly. So I finally go back there to at least just check in.
Yeah.
And they get my vitals and everything. And she's like, well, we need a urine sample, this and that. All right. So I go to the bathroom to get this urine sample. And I'm just thinking there's going to be a freaking bloodbath. And I'm going to see blood clots or something.
Yeah.
And luckily, it was all gone. Like, for the most part.
Okay.
I'm like, all right. So I went to the bathroom, went back to sit down, and then they called me back. Finally go back. They poked me with needles and took my blood. And then
the whole time I bet you're in your head.
Oh, I'm in my head the whole time. And I'm trying to, like, be calm. I'm freezing. I'm shaking. They're trying to make everything comfortable, and but Steve's hungry.
Yeah, but you're probably just like, that's it. That was fun. That was one day. It's fucking gone. Woe is me.
Yeah, like, what do I do now?
Literally all the fucking motions.
So we sit there even longer for like another 2 hours or an hour and a half or whatever. They finally take me back for an ultrasound. The ultrasound tech was super sweet. She was very nice, very like helpful, and luckily she goes, okay, don't say anything, which I probably shouldn't be saying this now, but whatever. She's like, first off, they couldn't see anything above my belly because obviously it was too small and they just can't see it because of my intestines, etc. So we have to do a vaginal ultrasound. Yay! That thing was this long. Like fish stories? No, this thing was this long. And like, I'm pretty sure I felt the whole thing like inside me. It was horrible. Yeah. So she goes, she puts the thing in there.
Right out of the fucking gate.
And she goes, okay, well, I shouldn't be telling you this, but, and she turns the monitor and I got to see it and its little heart and everything. And I was like, oh my God. Okay, so it's still there.
You're like, what?
Don't know what the bleeding is, but it is still there. Then it was like a tormenting 15 minutes of her moving the thing around, and I'm just like, my legs shaking because I've like got my legs up, and I'm like, ah.
Just get it. Fucking.
So that was really nice seeing it there, and
thank God.
Yes,
I mean.
It was
literally
terrible.
Literally taking the test the day before. You're like, oh my God, I'm so excited. Let's start making changes for our life for this. And then you have that fucking
And I'm
happen.
like getting used to the idea of having a baby.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I can do this.
Which,
this I can do.
As a friend, I also went through those motions because you gave me the call. I got the call, fucking excited, and then the next day I was in the ER.
Yes.
Till 1:00 in the morning, bleeding, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, do you need me there? Are you gonna be good? Like,
yeah.
What the fuck happened?
So then I find out that there is this subchronicle hematoma, which is technically a hemorrhage that can happen and is common, but no one speaks of it.
I didn't know.
That what happens is when the embryo implants onto the uterus, it can cause blood to form through there. So I could be losing the blood from the hematoma, or it could also cause miscarriages. So literally they just said, rest the pelvis, don't do anything that would jar it, etc. So it was just a nice way to say don't have sex.
But you're also like, okay, this is common.
Well, now I'm not moving.
Yeah, now I can't go you're like, I can't walk because now I'm like
scared that it's just gonna like disrupt something. So I literally said I was sick, which I was, feeling nauseous, and I was like, yep, I'm on the couch. So every day after I was done with work, I would go down to the couch and just watch TV.
It's just crazy how like the mental change of that, and I can't, so far, like the beginning of your journey has been so unique where it's like, oh my god, let's be excited, and holy fuck, put the brakes on.
Yeah.
Don't say anything don't tell anything to anyone, because you were excited and you're like, oh, I want to tell everybody, but I don't, and then you were like, I don't want to say.
Well, yeah, because I don't want to say anything and then nothing comes of it.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to be like, oh my god, we're pregnant. Oh, by the way, I lost it. And then I feel like insane. A failure.
Yeah.
Because I was like, what did I do wrong to cause this to happen?
Yeah. Which is crazy because, like, again, I don't feel like many people talk about it. And usually people don't announce they're pregnant until, what, 16 weeks? 16.
Usually it's when they are into second trimester, which I'm not there yet. So into second trimester or find the gender.
So what I want to ask is, regardless of the fucking whirlwind, topsy-turvy couple days that you had, do you regret telling me?
No.
Like, do you regret?
I needed somebody, because if I did lose it, I know Steve would be there.
But you would,
but like,
it would
be different because like he would be mourning it, I would be mourning it, and it would be more of like, oh my god, I need emotional support.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is totally fine. We did end up telling our parents during that same time, once we got the announcements that I ordered the day that I found out.
Jesus.
Which they were super excited, but I did tell them, hey, this hematoma is there. There could be a chance that I do lose it. Just a heads up.
So for this episode, I do want to ask like a question for you, for our viewers as well. So going through this crazy experience that you did so early on, is there any suggestions or like pointers or tips that you would give to somebody if they just found out they're pregnant? Would you suggest people to wait, or would you also be like, hey, don't worry about the bleeding, or fucking like, yeah, I don't know, it's such a crazy experience.
No. So essentially when I did start looking up about the bleeding, it is very common. And any article you see is always saying, if it's this specific bleeding, it's normal. If this is happening, it's normal. Discharge, you find out, TMI, again, I'm sorry. Discharge happens, and it can be ranging from clear to yellow to green to brown to pink, and it's all normal. And I'm like, so there's going to be a loogie in my underwear. So,
and that's it.
Da-da-da.
Ew.
And it's normal because it's technically something called the mucus plug that is being created, which we'll find out, and I'll tell Bridget later on in our episodes. But essentially, with the bleeding, it is terrifying. The amount of blood I had, they said, yes, you do need to go to the hospital, because obviously they found out of the hemorrhage.
Were you Googling this shit while it was happening, or you just saw it and
no,
you're
I was like,
I'm not waiting. You just knew.
I saw it and I didn't know what to do. Yeah. I was so helpless. I kind of blacked out almost. I didn't black out, like I knew what was going on, but like I felt helpless. Like, what do I do?
Because
I was just like moving and following everyone. Because all I could think of is I literally lost my kid.
Yeah.
So.
Did you toilet paper it up? Like when, like, you know when you don't have a tampon and use toilet paper?
Oh, no. Because,
like, how much...
I didn't even do anything.
You just saw it and you're like, and this.
And I'm out. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like 3 wipes. Panic. Rush to Steve. And we were off to the hospital. So, but like I said, once I went to the bathroom at the hospital, it was gone. So I was like, okay, which can happen again with that hematoma. Also spotting can happen throughout the pregnancy,
which I never
no
knew
matter
about the
what
hematomas at all.
trimester. I didn't either.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can also have spotting because of implantation. Where it is, it will bleed a little because of the sensitivity of the uterus.
Weren't you spotting for a little bit?
Yeah. So I did spot, but I thought it was like my period coming because again, I didn't think I was pregnant.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's so much stuff that like, you can even bleed after sex. I mean, your cervix is so sensitive now with everything going on that it just changes.
But I would say like
bleeding does occur.
Bleeding does occur.
If it is more than what you think should be normal,
go see somebody.
Go see someone. Because like I started spotting a lot after I found out. And the spotting stopped maybe a week after. I still had the hematoma all the way for our first doctor visit into the second one. They finally were like, yo, it's gone. And I was like, okay. But I still didn't feel I still don't feel comfortable going back to like normal activities. Like I still haven't exercised much, which they're saying like exercise, and I'm like, okay, well, like I'm still walking, I'm still trying to go up and down the stairs. But I'm not doing yoga, I'm not doing bar, I'm not doing my regular weight training because I'm like nervous that if I overextend something, even stretching, I feel weird because I like go like this and then I can feel pulling at the bottom. And I'm like, oh God, did I hurt it?
So being nervous about your pregnancy early on is common. Bleeding is common, but if it's something that you're not comfortable with when you see it, don't hesitate.
Yes, go to the hospital.
Oh, yeah.
Go to the hospital or talk to your doctor. If in my situation, I didn't get to see my doctor yet.
Yeah, you didn't get that far.
Yeah. Our visit was on the 25th of November, and this was on the 11th. Yeah. So I was like, hospital it is. And they were great.
And to mind you guys as well, like we're weeks past that situation.
Yes.
And she had gone to the doctor, and they're like, hey, your hematoma is gone.
Yep.
So, letting you guys, not trying to scare you, but like letting you know, like it did heal.
Yes.
This will be an interesting podcast, by the way. Like, it's fine. We're all learning together.
We are. Thanks for being here and listening. And hopefully it helps you guys too. Because it's nice to know that you're not the only crazy one if you're going through this. Or if you haven't gone through this yet or are thinking of it or don't want to do it at all, maybe it's proof of why you don't want to do it at all. But it might be something that like with us, oh man, we didn't really want kids, and then you get to a certain age and you're like, the other reason why I wanted to potentially have children is I want someone to take care of me when I'm older. Like, yeah, Steve will be there, but guess what? Now I have a kid that's going to be like, Mom, look at all my accomplishments, and now I'm going to buy you a new house.
I just want the hand turkeys.
Yeah.
In November.
Oh my God, I can't wait.
Can you imagine all the arting?
Oh, I'm gonna do so many.
I'm gonna art everywhere.
Totally. I have so many ideas. I'm so excited.
Maybe we should practice the crafting now.
I can't wait. Yes.
Right?
I can't wait to make like little cakes for their birthday and stuff and be like, look what I made you.
Who the fuck are you now?
Steve and I have already been fighting over what kind of nerd it's gonna be. So he's been playing it Star Wars books.
Yeah.
Audible. And Star Wars movies.
And she's been
crying. I've been watching Harry Potter.
She's been crying, full body sobbing, watching Harry Potter.
Yes, that's true.
Hilarious.
Yeah, because I'm like, it's so nostalgic. You're going to love it. What are you going to pick at 9 3/4 years old for your house. Like, I've already planned it. Like, it's gonna be a 9 3/4 birthday party. That it's gonna crawl to whatever house it is.
So for the birthday party, when you enter, there should be like curtains that look like bricks that you have to run through to get in.
Yes.
Right.
Well, he can't run. They can't run at that time.
Well,
They'll
like
crawl.
waddle. They like waddle in.
But they go in there and then they have to
Harry
choose
Potter when they don't know what it is.
Yes.
And that's the spoiler that she's giving you, the teaser. So one of the episodes we're going to have is what happens if it doesn't turn out like a nerd. How will you handle it?
That's not going to happen. That can't happen. We have Steve and myself.
Yeah, but what if it's not interested? We're going to save it for another one.
Yep,
we're going to
save
it
done.
for another one. All right, guys.
Thank you again, and always remember to geek responsibly and always wear a condom.